गुड इवनिंग एंड वेलकम टू गन शॉट। गन शॉट में आप सबका स्वागत है। Today we're going to something important has happened and we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about the Chinese step back on the LAC. Right. And to discuss this important topic with me, I have General Rajiv Narayanan, as usual, my mate who deals China in detail. Good evening, Rajiv.
Good
Welcome.
evening. Sir.
Uh, yeah,
Thank you. Welcome surprise. Good to be on your show, sir.
good to be
Not
here.
just for me,
But
a welcome surprise from Xi Jinping.
Xi Jinping, yeah. Great surprise Xi Jinping has given us. Let us see where this goes. But let's start at the beginning with what happened today, right? And I think from there we'll talk of this entire thing. Uh, yeah. So 1 minute. Right. Now to start with, today the foreign secretary he came and spoke, and this is what he spoke. Right. Let me. Oh, 1 minute. Huh? For some reason, anyway, his thing is not coming. But we know what he has said. He has said that uh, there a lot of what shall I say parlays have taken on between India and China, and some accommodation has been reached. There's going to be patrolling is going to restart, and further negotiations and further steps will start. Right, not much details are on, and presumably, presumably, and what's come out in the print, they say that uh, you know generally something they've spoken about Depsang and all that things are clear. Uh, we don't know the full details, so that's the sketchy thing. You have anything to add on this particular thing? We'll
Demchok
talk of
also they
what's
are
come out and
talking about.
what's come out, and then we'll talk ahead.
Demchok is also they are talking about these two areas,
Yeah.
but finer points is not yet known. How much of patrolling? All they have said is patrolling will restart, but
Yeah,
when, what, till which point, what all has been done, nothing has
all those have not
clarity
come
is
out.
not there, and the other side has not yet made any statement.
Yeah, the state has not made it made. So before we both of us, go into the details of what's happened and what we have to tell you, I'd like to make a few issues. This step is significant. It's very significant, and I consider it also a positive step, right? But it was a high risk step also. There are risks involved in this entire story which has happened so far, right? But we're going to do this analysis with the details which are available with us. We're not going to go speculate what can happen ahead. We're going to put some facts in front of you, and as this story unfolds in as days to come, we'll keep opening our analysis. Okay, the real status we'll know only when the details are given, and also when China puts out a statement. So far, China has not put out a statement. Whatever has happened here, or whatever is likely to happen, is not a solution to the India-China border issue. It's only a small step, right? And the way I look at it, the first step we need to understand this is a tactical adjustment as far as China is concerned. What is the tactical adjustment? General Narayanan will fully explain to you. Okay. We also have to keep in mind there's a BRICS meet coming up. Is this an accommodation for, to enable Xi Jinping and Prime Minister Modi to speak during the BRICS meet? What is Russia's hand in it? Okay. Because it appears it has played a hand. Then there's also talk of Chinese FDI coming into this area, into India. There's been a debate of this ever since our budget session was on. then what will be the impact on US? And what will be the impact on the strategic relationship with the US? And then it's an open secret that Russia wants the RIC to be revived. So there are a whole lot of issues. We'll talk of all of them, and we'll take it step by step. Right? This is what I thought we will present to you. We'll give you the exact details of what's uh, the current status in Depsang and Demchok, and then we'll give you an analysis of the other issue of the PRC, and then we'll tackle a few issues. This is my opening thinking. Your turn, Rajiv. You say,
No,
and
sir.
then I will give.
Very much. While I entirely agree with what you say, I'll add further that economically and militarily, China at the moment is at its weakest.
Yes.
So they need to get some time, some leeway. So would this be also as part of their overall strategy? Like you correctly pointed out, that this is just a tactical step, a small tactical step, not doesn't resolve our issues along the LAC.
Yeah. But uh, having said all this, uh, those of you who've been watching us, we've always been analyzing China in its actuality and what the problems it has been facing. And we've always maintained at some point of time or the other over the past 3 years that the day will come when China will have to go back. Okay. This might be just the start point of the whole story. We don't know what's going to unfold, but right. So, the first thing I'd like to tell everyone is why this whole story is significant is I will start from there and I'll explain to you the whole thing, the terrain part of it with some maps so that you have a better understanding the whole thing. And then we will go into the analysis. Okay,
Just
let's get on to the map. Yeah,
one
please go
point
ahead.
I'll add. Like you said, we had been discussing at some point they'll withdraw. We know for sure that Xi Jinping, it appears his wings are being clipped.
Clip.
And I'll highlight the power struggles within the PLA. Now, is this as part of his overall strategy to clip his wings further? Because he has always been against any pullback. Because it is
Yeah,
loss of face, it was his decision to do it.
yeah. Uh, okay. Sorry. Now have a look at this map which is in front of you. Okay, I put it up. This is the map which existed in 2020. Please understand, in 2020, April, May 2020, what was the situation? The situation was there was an incursion at Depsang, there was an incursion at Hot Springs and Gogra, there was an incursion at Pangongso, there was an incursion at Demchok. The Limpiudara issue with Nepal was at its peak, and there was also an attempted incursion in Sikkim at Nakula. All the others got sorted out. And for the first time in Pangong Tso, Chinese had to take a step back when they went back 9 kilometers. They had to break their own defenses and go back 9 kilometers. But they held on to Depsang and Demchok so far. And today, the news is they have to step back, right? Because they had come far ahead and they have to step back and allow patrolling. How far that patrolling will be and all that is to be seen. But remember, this is a step back. That is why the heading Chinese step back on the LAC. Okay. Now have a look at this map again. Right. What do you see? You see the road from north coming down to Lhasa. From Lhasa, this road past Shigatse and going in front of the entire western sector, as you see the pointer going, is the Western Express Highway or the Western Highway, or popularly known as the G219. The G219 goes across the complete Himalayan belt in front of us, goes across Nepal, it goes across the central sector, and cuts through opposite, from Demchok to Depsang. And that cuts through it cuts through the Aksai Chin area and goes on to the north. Okay. And this 219 will play an important part as we go along. Okay. Now, this is the map. If you remember, you see, this is a map which you can see anywhere. The LAC, the Aksai Chin area, what has been occupied, where is Depsang and where is Demchok. We are going to talk of Depsang and Demchok today. Let's have no doubt about it. Both these we will, talk of. Okay. Now, this is the broad map which I thought I'll put in front of all of you. You see Karakoram Pass, DBO is Daulat Bay Goldie, Depsang Plains in the north, Sushul in the south, and Demchok in the southernmost area. Now, this is the border, right? This is the border. The entire area, Depsang up to the border, is what we know as Aksai Chin. Now, this is the LAC. There's the approximate alignment of the LAC. It's not the exact LAC. Just to give you an idea. So nothing is, absolutely pinpoint here because these are sketches I made in the afternoon. And this is that road, G219, which comes right from in front of Nepal, goes into, Xinjiang. And this road, Darbuk, Shyok, Daulat Beg Oldie, which goes start from Tangse, Darbuk goes along the Shyok to DBO. And this is what has put the heebie-jeebies in them. Because with this, from DBO, they perceive something can come and cut off the road from the north. We'll explain this to you a little later. Now look at this map. Okay, very important. That red one, this red line is the, G219. This is Depsang, what you see. This is the Aksai Chin area. And this is the Sasar range. This is the Shyok River. This is the Indus River. And this is the range called Changchenmo range. Now, from anywhere on this road along the Shyok River, you can't go across the Changchenmo River in great strength and cut off this road and all that. But Depsang, you can. And that is why Depsang is important. The Depsang plain is connected to the Aksai Chin. And just where the Changchenmo finishes is where this intrusion has taken place and where they've been sitting for the past 4 years. Okay. Now, this map is very critical. This was prepared by, I don't know who prepared it, but General Panag has, published this in an article. And that link to the article I put on the top, sanjmorcha.com. And General Panag knows the terrain well because he commanded his battalion here. Now, if you look at it, now this is our perceived LAC. Okay. Now, all these points are in small form, but I'll go into it. This is Karakoram Pass. This is DBO. Okay. This is the DBO area road coming down. Okay. This is called Butse. We'll come to this Butse again. Now, if you see, this is the Depsang area. Okay. And this is the Chinese post opposite Depsang. They're not intruded here. Okay. They're not intruded here. They've intruded here. Why? Because they have a post here, so they feel they can hold us here. But from here, they have problems. And these are the patrolling points here. These are the 3-4 patrolling points which are here in black. In leisure, have a look at this map in detail. Right. And we used to do patrolling till these points here. But now they don't allow us. Why? Okay, here. Because this is the bottleneck area. This is where the Chinese are sitting. Okay, right. And there's another point here which I want to highlight. This is called Y Junction. There were times when they came to Y Junction and stopped us going north towards Depsang and didn't allow us to do patrolling. Now, the moot point is, though the Foreign Secretary has said patrolling will be allowed and normal patrolling will resume, will patrolling resume from this, what's that, bottleneck to the Y junction or bottleneck up to the all PPs is a moot question for which we need details. We have not got details so far. Okay. Now, Okay, this is the bottleneck. This is Y junction. This is our petrol base. Now, if you see this map, these red lines are the Chinese roads in this area. Alternately, if you go from the Dalakde Goldie, you can go up to this road in the depth. Whereas in the south, you can't. But in the south, you can go along this road, which is in the south. Okay, to through this Jivan Nala and PP12 and hit this road. So that's the importance of this area, because if you get onto this Changchun range and control the important parts here, China is at risk. And they are not very clear. They are not very keen that we do patrolling up to the points where they can get cut off. That's the moot point of this whole story. Okay. Now, this is a satellite image of the PLA camp as taken by a Pakistani. This appeared in a Pakistani journal. Okay. I've just taken that. But I don't know how good or bad this thing is. But what is important is the coordinates of the block were given in this. When I went and searched this, this is what I got. And this is the Chinese camp at that blocking point. Okay, the roads come from the east from here and go a little ahead and stop. This is that. Now let me zoom out. If you zoom out, this is the blocking point, and this is where we have to come up, go past. We used to go along this Nala, and then this Nala goes to the north, which is called the Raki Nala, and this is the Jivan Nala, which goes to the south to various patrolling points, right up to those roads which I showed you in the previous map. Okay, this is the further enlargement. You see this place, Budse camp. This is our petrol base. This is where somewhere our petrol base is. So normally we have to go till here. I'm not very clear till how far you go by foot, how far you go by road, because it's been quite some time since I've been there. In fact, to be very honest, I've not been to that bottleneck area. I've also not been to Budse personally, but I've flown over it. I know the area. Okay. So from here, and these people can approach this bottleneck area by road. That's the difference. They can stay there by road, whereas we have to do everything by foot. Okay. Now, if I zoom out even further, you see this is the bottleneck area. Again, the red pointer and the thing is the bottleneck area, and this is the line of our DSBBO road. And if you see this is the area of their road G219, which is very important for them, which I've been telling for a long time. Okay. Now let's get to Demchok. So the sum total of what the story here is, are we going to get patrolling rights up to the LAC or not? So that's the step we'll have to see till where we are going to get patrolling rights or not. If you're not going to get patrolling rights up to PP15AO, then there are issues involved. But then we don't know the details. Let's get the details and we'll. But like I said, it's a positive step that something is happening. Okay. Now, let's get to this Demchok area. Now, this is Demchok, and right. And this road is that same G219. Very important road for the Chinese. Let me tell you at the outset, if you cut this road off at 2, 3 places, China is over in this area. That's why they're so sensitive to it. This is the actual international boundary, which they have don't agree and all that. We know that. Now see the distance between the Demchok and this road. It's the closest to India. It gives tremendous options. More than that, I'll not talk. Now, what's the story here? This is the LAC. Okay? And this is where they've encroached till. And this is the Indus River, which comes from Mansarovar and comes north and goes further. Okay, they're sitting here. Now I'm going to tilt this map 90 degrees and show it in a north-south direction so that you understand the problem. Have a look at this. Just orient, when you just orient yourself to this map. If you see the black line on this map is the IB as per this thing. This is Demchok, And now this is a place called Chardingla. I'll come to the Chardingla a little later. See, concentrate on Demchok, and south of that is Indus. That valley which comes down, this is the Indus River, which comes from Mansarovar and enters India and keeps flowing. Okay. Now, as far as this is concerned, this line, this dotted line which I put now, is the LAC. Okay. This is important. They just pushed us back a little, and I'll tell you why. Okay, now I've shown this as a three-dimensional map. Same Indus River, same Demchok, same Chardingla. Now look at this. The LAC is this line from Chardingla, the Nala which comes down to Demchok. Actually, here, just let me see where you. Okay, sorry. I'll. I just. Yeah, 1 minute. Yeah. Have a look at this. See this place? In this area where I'm showing my pointer, there are hot springs there. Beautiful hot springs. I've actually gone and had a bath there long back, of course, before all this nonsense took place. Okay. Now, as you go further to the north, okay, this Chardingla. So we used to do patrolling right up to this Chardingla, but now we can't. The question is, will this patrolling be allowed? And why we need this patrolling, I'll just show to you. You see Chardingla here? This is a small, with my pointer. This is Demchok. And you see this road. This is that road. You can actually see this road from Chardingla. And what's more, this is Mansarovar. And from Chardingla, you can see Mansarovar. That's the importance of Chardingla. Okay? And this is the road, the G219, which said it starts in front of Nepal from Lhasa, Shigatse, in front of Nepal, and it keeps following right in front of the complete central sector, and then onto this, and further to the north, it goes, cuts through Aksai Chin and goes through. This is their lifeline. This is this lifeline which connects Tibet with Xinjiang. If this is cut out, Xinjiang is cut off. So there are serious repercussions. This is the view from Chardingla. Look at this view. Okay, let me explain. Oh, sorry. Let me explain this. This is standing on top of Chardingla. This is from the Google Earth. What is this these lines? This is the G219. You can see this line right from far. You can see Mansarovar here. On a clear day, from Chardingla, you can see up to Mansarovar. And you can see a complete Himalayan ridgeline here. If you go to the Google Earth and search, you can see Gangotri, Yamunotri, Darchula, all these places are marked. You see the entire central sector. So whatever China does here can be seen from here. It's such a dominating position. And if you turn to the north, also you see a lot of things. So this is very critical for us. So the point is, are we being given patrolling rights up to this point? That's the point which we have to see. Now, before I get to this, is what General Rajiv Narayanan's analysis is all about. But before that, I'd like Rajiv to give your initial thoughts about all this terrain and what all we have spoken so far. Give your thoughts and your critique. I mean, you can critique me also, there's no problem, and then we'll go with your analysis.
Basically, before anything, I'll just let the viewers know what is this alphabet G. Chinese National Highway is called Godao.
Mm.
So that's
Oh,
what G.
sorry, I forgot to tell that. Yeah.
Or a highway is known in Mandarin as Gonglu, but a Chinese national highway which they make is Godao. So that is how the word alphabet G has come. Like we say NH7, he says G219. So that is the background to G, so that you're clear that that's a national highway. So it's a very important thing. It's not some state or rural highway. That's a national highway. That's point number one. Point number two, General Shankar has explained to you very clearly the relevance of the important points of Demchok and uh, Depsang. Chardingla, once you've seen that, you know the kind of domination you get. That complete Kailash range is, you dominate the complete Kailash range, and that goes right up to Kailash Mansarod. That's how the name Kailash range. If you look at Depsang, if you got control of Changchengmo and the connected ridges along, you observe the complete Aksai Chin plains. That becomes the criticality and the reason why he keeps coming there. And he is very worried about your DSDBO road. That gives you a movement to swing through the plains area of Depsang. And like Jan Shankar had given you that road link from DBO, it goes straight and hits his G219. So if you concentrate forces there, you'll go straight to G219. So he's doing it for his defensive battle. We have to look at from our defensive perspective, and that is the reason why he was mentioning that we have to await the details, which most of the people who have written one or two articles on this, they say that further discussions will take place on the finer points of
Yeah.
that. What I'm going to look at is why now. One, of course, Jal Shankar had mentioned about the BRICS. He'll talk about it later. I will just made a small presentation sort of a thing. I'll talk you through. Like I had mentioned earlier also that at the moment, economically and militarily, China is at its weakest. That doesn't mean it's going to stay weak for long. And in earlier talks also I have been mentioning, you just have a decade and a half to 2 decades window. If you get your house in order, if you get your act in order and get your act in place, well and good. Otherwise, you have missed the bus. You missed the bus. So that is the criticality of this window. These windows in geopolitics don't last very long. Someone else will
And
come
they
with the
don't come
window,
very easily.
and
And
they
they
don't
don't come
come.
very easily also.
Yes. This is once in a century or 2 centuries that you got this window back again. You were at one time doing very well, and then for over nearly 800 years you have been down. Now you've got a window, and it's for you to decide to choose how to use this window. Can we go to the next slides? Why I don't trust the dragon. This is as of July 18, 2013, and it has been quoted by the Chinese also. This comes in the Chinese language newspaper, not in the English language. And they've spoken about the 6 wars that China is sure to fight, though they have given a timeline. Whether they will be able to follow that timeline, I doubt it. But it gives you the prioritization and the criticality of what they are doing and why they are doing. You are at number 3. Don't go by the timeline. You are at number 3 in the priority at the moment. Priority 1 and 2, that means the priority today for him is the eastern seaboard. Taiwan and Spratlys come in the eastern seaboard.
Bradley तो ले लिया उसने.
So now Taiwan hai. Spratly, so generally the work is done. It's done and
Yeah,
dusted.
finished.
You're only doing FONOPs and other things. Otherwise, it's done and dusted. Taiwan is one left. After that, he goes back to the eastern seaboard for the Japanese islands, Diaoyu, that is Senkaku. That he wants to take. After that, he will go for taking over the whole of Mongolia. And these, by the way, are based on the assessment given by Sun Yat-sen as far back as 1921-22, that unless you do these things, you will not be strong. You get depth to your Han heartland. And then he talks about taking back lands lost to Russia, which is going beyond Manchuria, Shenyang, and taking over the Far East area. Vladivostok and all those areas. That comes subsequently. Surprisingly, he has only used the word southern Tibet. He has not included eastern Ladakh, which
But his focus is there.
his focus is there, and not as much on southern Tibet. But be that as it may, while he is talking of southern Tibet, I'd look at it at both places, that not only Arunachal, he is very keen on Ladakh also. Why Ladakh? At one point in time, there was a Tibetan prince who came to Ladakh and established his kingdom. Long, long ago, many centuries ago. So that's how they were working. So this is there and this is taught. And so since 2013, it has been there as far as their teaching within the PLA is concerned, the hierarchy. So next one. Yeah. So main is we should be very aware of PRC strategies and deception. Deception is the lifeblood of PRC's survival, and it has used it since the formation of CPC. Look at how they made a fool of the US and the West by taking money from them, and the West foolishly thought that, okay, we make them rich, they'll become democratic, and they'll be like, what has
Yeah,
happened?
yeah,
So
yeah.
what?
And in fact, we have to look out for the deception in this whole deal.
Yes, yes, yes. That's why I'm bringing this out, and I'll
Yeah,
explain to you also. Sun Tzu's Art of War, and there is another compilation of 36 stratagems. They give many insights into the thinking. Now, after PRC was formed, Mao had got together all these ancient teachings and strategies compiled into 21 books. This I am taking from the 100-year marathon. Michael Pillsbury has written in detail about it. Since those days, he was the good boy, since he was fighting for PRC. They let him read all those books. He fluent in Mandarin. These have not been translated into English, and they are taught from the schools. So this strategy of deception and how to use and deceive and stratagem, it is ingrained in their DNA since childhood. And 50 से ये पढ़ाया जा रहा है. So be aware and beware. Next. So the next slide, sir. Yes. Now, the 36 stratagems you can Google. They're about 6 strategies of 6 chapters of 6 strategies each. Okay. And you have when you're weak, when you're equal, and when you're strong. So that is the 3 parts. How do you defend and how do you overcome? So total 6 strategies each. So it takes you to 36 stratagems. These are adjunct to the art of war. They are addendum to the art of war. It's not separate in itself. So I have given the chapters within which they have given winning stratagem. Make a sound in the east and strike in the west. So that is the worry. Looking at Taiwan, will he attack across the LAC? Is this part of that? That you say, oh, we got a deal with them, so he's not interested in them, and make the government and the MEA put their guard down even as the army is screaming, and he attacks you. So when you deceive, look at how the Egyptians deceived the Israelis in the Yom Kippur War on the Bar-Lev line. They kept exercising, coming up to the bar, close to the Bar-Lev line and going back. 27 times they did that. And on the day of the Yom Kippur, the guard was down. Oh, they're come up for exercise, so they'll do
yeah.
that and they go back. They didn't
Same thing
go back.
what happened on October 7th.
Okay.
Same
And
thing
they went
happened on
across
October 7th also.
October 7th. And they went across the Bar-Lev line. That is all stratagems. Create something from nothing. That means you try to make Bharat believe that it is in their interest to mend relations to PRC. They are funding their own people out here to start writing articles. People are speaking, but we must take FDI from China. More about it a little later. I'll explain my concerns about it from a book that I have read. It's a wonderful book. I will ask you all to read. And hide a knife behind a smile. What is he hiding? Why is he pulling back now? Yes, there have been casualties, high altitude casualties. People are screaming against Xi Jinping. Why have you gone there? There is an internal struggle. Last year, I believe they have about 50, 55 odd high altitude casualties. So
People have died. People have died. 55
people have
chaps
died.
have died.
There must be many more who have got Hapo. Is there a concern? But despite that, he's been standing firm. Why now suddenly? Is he trying to ingratiate himself with you, gain your trust, and then hit you? Let us be very clear. We are his enemy. Because Mao uses Chiang Kai-shek's words that there can't be two suns in the universe. So we have to be very clear that in Asia, it's only going to be him. So whatever he is going to do with you, he's looking at how to keep a buffer till he regains some economic and military strength. Okay. Next. In chapter 2, there is another one. Sacrifice the plum tree to preserve the peach tree. Is he doing this outreach to gain long-term comprehensive national power is at its weakest? Is he using this a tactical move at the, like we've always said, the LAC, whatever happens is tactical, but it has strategic implications. So is the strategic implication that you will give him time of respite to gain his CNP? That a short-term objective he's surrendering for a long-term gain?
Yeah, and he could be disengaging troops from the LAC and using them for the Western Front, Eastern Front.
Yes. So, and since he has repaired damage with you, he feels that now when he looks at Western Front, you will not do anything for the Americans and the others, the squad on the Eastern Front. The attacking another thing, like chapter 3 is tossing out a brick to get a jade gem. That you will think that he is going to help you in Atmanirbhar program, but he'll capture your market slowly. I'll speak about that a little later. How? Because there is already chatter of getting FDI, Chinese money. You've got to be very careful. There are no free lunches. You've got to be careful.
Yeah, and here I would like to add, some of our industrialists are pretty greedy. उनको पैसा चाहिए, उनको ईमान थोड़ा कम है. मैडम साफ बोल रहा हूँ.
See, sir,
Okay.
if he was, I will add to that, sir. If he was so clear in his heart that he wants to do good, well with India, every year he holds a South Asia event forum. Nobody
He
from
didn't
our
call us.
government, from the embassy is called. But concurrent with that, there is a South Asia fair where he calls up business people.
Yeah,
That is where he subverts their mind.
correct.
Poisons them against the government. Look, your government is a fool, is not doing this, is not doing that. I can help you do so much. This is that tossing out a brick to get a
Yeah,
jade.
I completely agree with you, and I see that being played out day in and day out. In fact, Sriparna Patak has also written a beautiful article on this, right? This very topic which you said, where there's a huge charm offensive to enter your market and revive his
No,
market. Yeah,
he's not giving you
and no
entry
one,
into his markets.
okay,
He
but
wants to come
right,
into your market.
yeah, and he is not able to also put his FDI in any other market.
Yes,
He is also not getting FDI from others.
others.
So there's a moot
Then
question we have to ask.
the
When
other
he
mood
wants
question.
FDI,
Names,
you know,
please.
Yeah, when he wants FDI from other markets, why are you taking from China? Why can't you get FDI directly from others? I mean, there is something I have not understood.
See, the other issue is, sir, he is given strict instructions to BYD that he is not going to share and make anything in India or Turkey also he has added.
Correct.
India and Turkey. Then what is
Yes,
Atmanirbharta? You are telling that BYD that everything has to be here, the R&D also has to be here. It has to be made for Indian design. He's clearly given an instruction to them, and no businessman in China is going to violate the party's order.
correct.
Right?
Yeah,
So,
no doubt.
so we have to be very, very, very careful. I'll come to that. I'll explain it with a book from I read, like I said. Next. When I look at the external scan, he's aggressive in Indo-China Sea, but he's scared because we had done a series on can he fight amphibious battle, and we had come out that it's going to be very difficult for him. Yet he's become aggressive. South Asia is losing out because Bangladesh, he's lost out. If he's doing a deal with me, that means he's throwing Pakistan under the bus. Will he throw his cat under the bus? Is he throwing him under the bus if he's doing a deal with you?
No,
That's the big.
he wants to put his first overseas command in Gwadar.
Yes,
His first overseas theater command, he wants to put it in Gwadar. So if he is doing that, and despite all the problems in Gwadar, all the problems in Balochistan, all the problems in Pakistan, he is not letting Pakistan go. He didn't let Pakistan go in the SCO meet also.
yes.
So if he is not
So
doing that, so why
then
is he coming to you? Will will
USA
he
we
give?
know
No, no. Is he giving Pakistan some breathing space through this?
that could be the something, so because Pakistan has a major problem on his west, so he
West.
gets a breathing space to the east, and then so the next one, sir. Yeah,
Oh, sorry.
US, the USA we know he's in doldrums with them. West Asia he tried to make it, but today is I don't think after October 7th people trust China because so much of Chinese footprints have been found in Gaza itself. Iran itself is on the back foot now, so he doesn't know what will happen. We don't know what kind of response now. Next response, the next step. They launched a big cyber attack, the Israelis. What's the next step that is going they are going to take with Iran? We don't know. We are only speculating it. Whatever they do, what is where is China going to be then? Russia is a big question mark because he suddenly finds that the Russia India equation is becoming stronger. Africa today, slowly the voices are coming out against China. It's not that all of them have gone against China, but the voices are now rising because of two things. A, the debt that they are getting into because of the BRI and other investments which have become white elephants. And the number two point is the attitude of the Chinese people who have come, because he brings all the labor and everything for executing the project. The attitude with the locals, that the locals have become angry with the condescending and the insulting behavior that the Chinese have. To give a point, they made a high speed rail from the Kenyan port to Nairobi, forgetting the name of the Kenyan port, to Nairobi, the capital. Can you believe it, sir? Everybody from the uh, driver to the TT to the coach attendants, everybody is Chinese. Don't tell me you can't have local TTs and local attendants. Even the kitchen pantry car is run by Chinese. There's not a single Kenyan there. That was made and they were sold that is
Yeah, it's
going to
called
be
Lamu Port. Lamu Port.
Lamu port.
Lamu Port.
And
Yeah.
then it road that rail was made that all the commercial activity and trade carriage will be done by the rail. Now rail is supposed to be the second cheapest. Cheapest is the sea or the water. waterways. Next is rail. Then is land, that is your trucks and all. And thereafter, the most expensive is the air. Can you believe it? It is cheaper than the rail to take it by road. Nobody takes the trade by the rail. They move it by road. So it's become a white elephant. So these are the issues which are slowly and steadily coming up within Africa, which is making it difficult for it. Next. Now look at the internals. The PLA and the purges, we have spoken a lot about it, and the trust. Now, the latest what is happening is Zhang Yujia is suddenly purging out and sacking or demoting Xi Jinping's proteges. Now, this brings a major issue. Like Li Shangfu, whom he purged, has throughout been a protege of Xi Jinping. When you purge him of corruption and bring the complete equipment department under scrutiny, equipment department and its previous avatar, the General Armaments Department, had been run by Zhang Yujia, his blood brother. Now, what has happened? I'll just give you the brief on that. We'll first look at PLA. We had touched upon it earlier. The Southern Theatre Commander, in one of our talks, we had touched about it.
Yeah, last talk. Last talk.
Yes, General
Please.
Wang Biang has been sacked. Where he has gone, we don't know. General Wu Yanan, he has been appointed. Okay. And he is out and out Zhang Yujia's man. He served with him throughout. The Northern Theatre Commander, General Wang Xiang, has been sacked. And General Huang Ming from Central Theatre Commander has been placed there. These happened around end July, August, 1st August ke pehle. Their major, like we had said, it didn't come out in the major newspapers, it came out in the provincial newspapers. As far as the Central Theatre Command is concerned, Wang Ming was from Central Theatre Command. No commander has as yet been appointed. The political commissar is running it, which is really a funny thing. Then the previous Northern Theatre Commander, who is now the ground force commander, General Li Xiaoming, he has been a Zhang Yujia's protege. When he was removed and the one who is currently been sacked, General Wang Xiang, was coming, both the staffs got into a fight and there was exchange of fire, I believe. But Zhang Yujia's hand on him was so strong, Xi Jinping couldn't purge him. He made him the ground force commander. But he placed a political commissar who was his man, General Chin Shu Tong, who has now been purged and he is under investigation. Okay, now this is what has happened in PLA. Now 3 theatre commanders are with Zhang Yujia. Only the Eastern Theatre Commander stays, who is with Xi Jinping, but I doubt he can do anything in Beijing because he has got quite a lot on his plate as far as the Eastern Seaboard is concerned. Western Theatre Commander, similarly placed. He can do nothing in Beijing. He has no troops left. Almost everything has got deployed except for one equivalent of a corps, one group army. That is all that he has left. And he has quite a lot on his plate. Now, is this also a part of Xi Jinping, that if I thin out from here, at least if I'm in trouble, I can get something from this man? Because these are the only 2 people now who are with him. The other 3 are with. And Central Theatre Command is critical because that is for the defense of Beijing, and that is the one with the big bosses of the Communist Party in Beijing. Now let us look at CMC, which is where he would have got scared the maximum. His factum factotum, right from Zhejiang days, the moment he took over as the General Secretary and the chairman of the CMC, a civilian, which has never happened before, he placed him in the director general as director of the general office. The general office coordinates everything, and he was also made, once the restructuring was done, the restructuring and reorganization office also he was to oversee. A civilian who has no clue about the PLA. That chap has been demoted. He has been thrown to a central military school, that you are the head of that, which trains the contract soldiers and officers, junior officers, when they're just becoming an officer. It's been thrown there. Okay. And they brought in from the Joint Communications Ops Center, there was a Lieutenant General. They brought that person here, Fang Yong Nam. They brought him there. Back, that this is supposed to be a PLA and a military person's appointment, not a civilian's appointment. But this chap has always been he was his personal factum factotum. The fact that he has been demoted itself is a major issue. And the second person, their Central Commission for Discipline and Inspection of the CMC, the person who was with Xi and purging all these people from the time that has been happening, he has been demoted and sent to a military technical school that will go and oversee that. Now, these are very major purges which have taken place, counter purges, if I may, against Xi Jinping. And of course, you have within the CPC, he has been sidelining the contenders. So where's the trust? The economic slide, General Shankar has spoken much about. I have also spoken with him. There is no end in sight. Is this the push for the FDI? That's something you can get from Indian market because it's easy. Their banks, NPAs have become greater than the stated GDP. People are frustrated, joblessness, no money, disappearing savings. Like we said, Tang Ping Ban, Bailan to Run Shui. This frustration and demographic decline. Working age population is sharply declining, and soon it will be less than the old people. What are you going to do? In one of the talks which I was seeing, people from Chinese origin outside, they're talking. They say that as on date today, he has only 800 million people. So what are you talking that he has 800 million working hands? The total population is 800 million.
Oh yeah, I agree.
Now
In
all
fact,
thrown out.
what I want to put across is this is a very important factor. There's this chap called Yu Fuxian. Yu Fuxian was a Chinese. He's a Chinese guy who ran away from China, and he's now in the University of Minnesota or Wisconsin, and he's a demographer, and he writes, and he says that the population of China is not 1.41 billion as per him; it is only 1.28 billion, and if it is 1.2, and there's another chap who says it's only about 800 million. They all, and if you go by their figures and extrapolate their population, they already are more than one third or one chaps who are over 65. वो बुड्ढों को लेके क्या करेगा वो? उनके लिए पैसा भी नहीं है उसके पास. And I mean,
Major
they're in a
issue
very
that has,
bad situation.
and to add to what you said, sir, they don't get. They had initially they used to do the conscription once a year. People were
Now
not
they're
coming
doing
in
twice.
twice a year. Now what has happened? The latest report which is coming out of China, written reports, they're still not getting people. They're trying to entice the people who had not joined after the conscript or after first contract had gone back on retirement to come back to serve. He has, you could
He's
say,
getting reserves back.
yes,
He's
sir,
getting
the
reserves
reserves
back.
are wanting to come back. He's wanting the reserves to come back because he's awfully short of technically qualified people who can absorb the new technology.
Yep, I agree with you.
So this is
Completely.
this window जो मैं बार बार बोलता हूँ 20 साल का window है. This is the window you have because he is at this desperate, and you have to understand the current what Shankar had put Chinese step back. Why? because he is at his weakest, so he just wants to pull back to be goody two shoes with you for the time being. For the time
It's
being.
completely temporary.
Yes. Next. So that is why I had put. He needs to gain time. Lot of his fifth columnists inside have been compromised. He needs to develop new ones, and the new ones are emerging out of the woodwork. The using indirect methods to gain traction with him. And this point, control at least 10 to 15% of our GDP. There's a wonderful book written by Tom Miller. He wrote it in 2000. It was published around 2017-18. China's Asia Dream. Please read it. In it, he very categorically mentions and explains how he uses BRI and his FDI. Aim is to slowly, step by step, incrementally keep increasing the FDI. Till then, he'll be goody two shoes. It takes him about 10 to 15 years, 20 years. That's why I said 20-year window. So that his FDI becomes 10 to 15% of your GDP. Please remember, no country can take a hit of double-digit drop in your GDP. And that is when he brings the geo-economic squeeze to make sure you follow his policies. I've always given the classic example of Vietnam. Vietnam, 2014, there was a standoff in the Haiphong Bay on the high sea oil exploration rig with the Chinese coast guards. Vietnamese the government let loose their people who ran amok and burnt all the Chinese establishments. Yes, some Japanese and Korean establishment also got burnt because facially you can't recognize who is a Japanese, who is a Chinese, and the script is also similar. Vietnamese script is very different to that. They don't write characters like the Koreans, Japanese, and the Chinese write. At that point in time, he was around 8-9% of his GDP. Cut to 2018. Similar standoff in Haiphong Bay. This time, the Japanese government could not repeat what they had done earlier. They went to their ambassadors in every country went to each of their embassies and other places and begging for help that you must condemn the Chinese. I was in USI, their ambassador had also come to USI, the think tanks must also raise. By then, the Chinese investment had increased in those 4 years. The Vietnamese had been fools. They did the same thing, goody two shoes, no, we'll help this, that. Their FDI in Vietnam had increased to about 13% of the GDP, and came the economic squeeze that if you try to do that, we'll pull out our FDI. Be careful, because he's going to blindside our people.
No, he's already doing it.
And already these positive narratives on FDI and all that, even a person like your own foreign finance minister has made a statement in the budget speech. He's going to revert to hide his clause and bide his time with you. He tried to show his clause. He's learnt his lesson now. So be very, very careful. I will not trust him in one word. Even if I don't wear any rings, if I shake hands with him, I'm going to count all my fingers. Whether they are there. So what is the way ahead? Best is you play by his playbook, यार. Don't open up your market. You say जितना तुम्हारा market खोलोगे उतना ही market हमारा entry मिलेगा. हम भी FDI डालेंगे. Tell your companies also start putting FDI. Match it. And बाहर से भी मिल सकता है. If you're not getting from the West, यार सऊदी अरेबिया, UAE के साथ आपके एग्रीमेंट्स बने हुए हैं. Why can't you use that? You signed agreements. ठीक है, America is part of that agreement. America is busy somewhere else, but they are next door to us. Why don't we start doing that way? And you have to be careful. Like I said, one full group army is inside Tibet. No deal till whole group army goes back into barracks.
Yeah. Now that you mentioned that there's a group army there, and you do a deal, and what happens to Tibet?
Yeah,
You
that
you
group
you
army
leave
has
them?
to get out of Tibet, and the your two divisions of Xinjiang military district are with you. Tell them they have to go back to the barracks, to Khotan and Kashgar. They will not be here.
Yeah.
How do you keep a check on those? Does RAW have the capacity and capability? Then the others I'm giving is AIM Plus, Ney Mongolia. We should start raising, since he is talking about Kashmir and other things. Let's start talking about Ney Mongolia. What stops you? Ney Mongolia is Mongolia, yeah. It's not China. AIM Plus, of course, is withdrawal from artificial CC. Always, when you sit for negotiation, you must give your extreme position. That's when you'll get
वही
what
तो
you
करता
want.
है वो.
You
That's what he
never
says.
start
That's
with
what he.
what you want immediately. Sorry. So I won't talk about patrolling points. I'll say you get out, get all your
Of
armies out,
exception.
get back to barracks. I want nobody deployed here. Nobody was deployed there before. Nobody will be deployed here. Get lost. Go back to barracks. Even the BDR will go back to barracks. If you have made your camps out here, please vacate all those camps. You can't accept these things. And the main thing, that's why I said the group army which has come has to go back to Sichuan. Start extremes. Then you can take it forward. I will tell all again. Please read that Thomas Miller ka book, Tom Miller's China's Asia Dream. That has not changed. He doesn't have a market today anywhere. The West and the US markets are getting blocked. He is getting worried that these Southeast Asian markets are getting blocked. People are getting worried that he's dumping, and they are bringing in rules exactly like the EU to anti-dumping, to increase the tariffs of Chinese goods within Southeast Asian markets, because their own internal companies are getting destroyed. That's the route that you have to follow. He is not given you any market in there. Why should I permit him? Why should I permit him FDI so much that he controls my market? Don't. Identify. That's where I take what General Jaishankar, or EAM Jaishankar had said, that we must identify the non-critical areas that we can give FDI to. And in those also, I would say, let him not go overall, whatever FDI he gives, not more than 5-6% of your GDP. Total, nothing more than that, so that he doesn't have a say in your GDP. And then he can't give you a geo-economic squeeze. You have to protect yourself and make sure that he abides by WTO rules. He's part of WTO. It's not a one-way traffic. He wants to come in here, he has to give us the market there. He can't say my rules don't permit. Then sorry, our rules also should not permit him to come. That's what I had to say.
Yeah. I think you covered a huge ground. We're very clear now as to what is the story so far and what are the major issues at stake, with General Narayanan has explained. Uh, Now, I just got a message from print, right? I believe Depsang is resolved completely, and that we will be allowed to patrol up to all the petrol points before. And that Y junction is no more a bottleneck. Bottleneck Y junction, we can go to all petrol points. They all, as for that, even Demchok is resolved. I don't know whether we'll be able to go to Chardingla or not. But these are issues which, the print, it's come out in the press, but let's wait for the actual black and white thing, and then we'll analyze it further. But the main thing which we have put across today is what are the issues involved on ground and what are the dangers in the whole situation. Okay. Now, this is going to be a long session today. We're going to take some time because I think this is a fundamental session based on which further sessions will build. And the first thing, the the word is out that all this is being done so that uh, Xi Jinping and Prime Minister Modi can have a meet in BRICS. And the whole idea is to get BRICS through. So, yeah, and your views on that, and then I will also put in my 2 bits worth.
Oh, yes, sir. Because basically, India and Russia have negated his. First, he was talking, Global Times were yapping dozen to a million, gazillion times about BRICS currency, that they have said no. Common currency, they have said no. Even of equivalent to SWIFT is not yet in place. And Putin was very clear that it's too early. So at best, what they were talking of, what hints was coming from Russia and India was of local currency, doing trade in local currency, which I don't think the Chinese would be very happy with because a lot of countries don't like his yuan.
Yeah,
He imposes on them, but they don't like yuan. He was hoping that somebody from Latin America may come, but Argentina has withdrawn its application. Pakistan it's becoming a no-no as far as BRICS is
India is
concerned.
concerned.
So he, I think, would be looking more on the sidelines to because of this kind of uh, build-up that is coming up, that FDI, 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 FDI of trying to get into a market through FDIs.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. If I have to add a point, is that look, we have to understand without India, BRICS is a no go. Okay, and in the last meet of BRICS, we said no global development initiative, no GCI, all that nonsense. So, he's taken one step back. The danger is, will he take 2 steps forward in BRICS? In the on the sidelines of BRICS. While we are concentrating on FDI, the things could be coming somewhere else. So that is something which we have to see. Like what General Narayanan said, trust mat karo usko. Trust out of question. Okay. So that's as far as BRICS is concerned. What do you think is Russia's hand in all this? From a BRICS
So
perspective and Russia.
Russia, I think, is more and more now coming around to the point that between China and India, India is more trustworthy. And since India has a voice across both sides, China had actually speaking, like I always tell a lot of people, that okay, if you are not very keen on something, you don't like a person, don't cut him off. You never know at what point in time you might need something from him. So don't keep quiet, don't build relations, but don't shut him out completely. Same is the case in relations between in international relations between countries. If you're not okay with the government, don't break away from the people. Don't break away from the people. Unfortunately, in both the wars here, conflict here, whether it be Ukraine or it be Gaza, China has been found to be favoring only a particular side.
Yeah, yeah. In fact, there is news that some Chinese chaps were, killed in Lebanon in an underground tunnel as part of a
Underground.
strike. Yeah.
So now the issue comes about is, now I'm sure the what we call the war fatigue would slowly be coming in. Europe has already got its war fatigue, and I'm sure the war fatigue is also coming in Russia.
Hey,
He will
let me
help
add.
him.
Now that you will only, yeah, he's already said that only Prime Minister Modi can help us
Modi can
take,
do. Because
yeah,
ours is the only country. I won't say
he can
Prime Minister
trust
Modi because since he is the Prime Minister today ours is the only country which has good relations across the conflict
everyone.
with everyone. Right, sir. So similarly, at some point in time, when the war fatigue sets in the Middle East, who is the country where
Yeah,
all sides will feel comfortable with you? So,
yeah, I agree with you.
and then he finds that you have not gone down the unethical way in which the Chinese started copying their weapons. You had your chance in this 2 years in the war, but you spoke to him, discussed with him, took his okay, and only then you're doing the refurbishing and creating the T-93 Type 3 and the refurbishing of your SUs, refurbishing of your naval fleet, everything with his concurrence and working with them. You didn't start off straight away saying, like your MRO also, you're trying to do for the region. You're taking him into confidence and
Yeah,
saying,
yeah,
okay,
you're
we'll
taking
do.
me on the board. In fact, part of he wants part of your MRO. He
Yes,
wants part of your MRO.
he wants MRO, which
Part
you're
of your
ready to give.
MRO.
He is not taking it
Yeah.
from the Chinese, which
Mm.
tells you the degree of trust that he also has with less with the Chinese. Now, the
Yeah.
Chinese are worried they are today at the weakest. Yes, the US would be worried with this that the RIC, which the Russians are very keen to restart, if the RIC happens, then it becomes a major issue for them. Because if you're all the while talking about that in World Bank and IMF, that the global economy depends on India, and if India is not with them, then they have a
They're in a
problem,
problem. Yeah.
right? Now, you are the happiest if this happens. I have my rationale for that because the conflict zone, when we do the net assessment, I always keep conflict zones. If it is hypothetical, if the RIC comes about, then most of Asia falls in with you. The lone interloper is Pakistan. Where will he go?
He can't go anywhere.
Right, sir. Most
Yeah.
of the Asia
And
falls with you. Then the conflict zone goes to the Pacific, Atlantic stroke Mediterranean. Relatively, relatively, I'm saying, Indian Ocean becomes a zone of peace, and you get that peace dividend which you never had in your life.
yeah. But
Right, sir?
but
But this is
but provided
hypothetical because
hypothetical.
Chinese will not agree today.
Yeah, to that. The trust factor in China is not there.
Yes, because they are
Right?
at the
R-
weakest, and if today it
Weakest.
happens, they will not have that say.
Yeah. So RIC is as it is, they're regretting with BRICS.
Yes.
So right. So they thought they can get away with BRICS. They're not able to get away with BRICS. So they don't want to get into RIC and strengthen the Russia-India partnership, and they become a junior partner in this whole deal. It's very uncomfortable for them, and then they lose their Chinese dream. You see, that's the most important thing. At the end of the day, we must remember Xi Jinping has got still some power. His wings might be clipped. He's still the tallest leader in China. He's not going to let go in a hurry.
Not only that, sir, the US and the West for the medium and low tech are still heavily dependent on China.
Dependent on China. Okay. You go to USA to any supermarket or any store. The only thing which you see is bloody Chinese made items. So everything, even bloody zips, come from China. Okay, that's the level of dependence. So we'll leave that. So we touched upon RIC. So there's an issue there. We've touched upon BRICS. Let's talk of USA. Let's talk of our strategic partnership with USA vis-a-vis what is happening in India, Canada, and this.
So suddenly
You
you
know,
will suddenly find the change. I am waiting to see the change in tone and tenor
say
on the
USA,
US
USA,
because it's very easy to throw that chap Justin Trudeau under the bus.
under the bus.
He'll go under the
See,
bus.
that's the
I'm
he'll
sure
go
they
under
will
the bus.
I'm sure they will talk to UK, and the Governor General out there is going to call for elections, and that is the end of Trudeau. and they swing it so that they get Pollier person in place, and Trudeau goes under the bus, and that's the end of story as far as. And those RCMP guys and others, he'll tell them you can sort them out at your level, what all they have done, crap. And so a lot of these higher level peoples in the governance will be going under the bus because he can't afford to lose you.
Yeah. So there are. So that's the thing. The next thing is we have to now really seriously think about what do we do with Tibet.
Yes,
The Tibet question is something which we really have to think about the whole story, right?
it's very,
And
very critical, and that's why I was
very
saying get out
critical.
of Tibet. Get out of Tibet. First thing is get that group army out of Tibet.
Tibet,
Because
right?
if it doesn't
And
get out of Tibet, he may use that group army to suppress people in Tibet. So that group army has to
yeah,
get out.
okay. Now, another point I want to touch on is that is he looking at getting out of the two front situation in which he is?
In the interim, I'm sure he would be. And not only a two-front situation, also that he he might be working with the PAP. I really don't know, and might be easing the load on the Western Theatre commander so that he can come to his assistance if push comes to shove and he has a standoff with Chang Yuzhia. Then what does he do?
Yeah.
Because the
So
two
there are
changes, major changes in the CMC, that's a slap on the face to Xi Jinping.
Xi Jinping, right? So there are many layers in this whole story. Okay, let me put it. I'll take one comment. It's a comment, but I would like you to comment on it, and we can discuss this. It says General Raj Shukla, Rakesh Shukla, and Narsimhan
Rakesh
have
Sharma
different
also.
views on China from these two. Jo bhi hai.
So
Rakesh
the
Sharma
मैं
have
बोलता हूँ,
and
should not be
we have
Rakesh
no
Shukla,
we
but
know it's
Rakesh Sharma. So that's
Rakesh
okay.
Sharma. That's okay. We know that they have different views. Okay, they could have completely different views from us, and I expect them to have. I have no doubt about it. They have their own way of studying. We have our own way of studying. We are very clear. But what I am clear, which I want to tell all of you who are seeing this show, is that whatever we have predicted about China over the past 3 to 4 years has come true. I mean, let's be very clear. I am no making no boast. We've been doing this show either together or with others, and we've been talking a lot about China. And whatever we have said has come true. And that whatever we have said is based on our analysis, based on our reading of China, daily reading of China, and wide
By the
reading of
Chinese
China
themselves.
by the Chinese.
Chinese themselves. What the Chinese have
Yeah,
written about themselves.
yeah. You'll be surprised. I've not read a Western book on China. I've not read. The only two sources of information for me about China is what I have seen China across the LAC, which I have served all over the countryside, and what I have read from Chinese sources. All Western readings are corroborative. So we are looking at it completely from a perspective. So those generals, with due deference to them, and this thing, they give you an alternate viewpoint, and you must listen to it. We also listen to it, but we are not convinced by them so far. Okay. So that is what I thought I will put across to all of you. I'll not take